Fox Sports.
We are Fox Sports. We are Fox Sports.
Tonight, the Rays' 10-game homestand continues with the first game of a 3-game series. The Rays taking on the San Diego Padres in their second foray into interleague play. Hi again, everyone, and welcome to Rays Baseball with Brian Anderson. I'm Dwayne Statz. Good to have you aboard. Todd Callis along in just a moment. Well, tonight, two outstanding third basemen lead their respective teams. When you look at the offense, two Gold Glove winners at third base, and it starts with Evan Longoria for the Rays, Chase Headley for the San Diego Padres.
And both of them have been on a tremendous run. Let's start with Evan Longoria. You know, you go back over his last 23 games, and Evan Longoria just continues to be productive, not just getting hits and getting on base, but in the power and production department. 340 average, the 8 home runs, driven in 20. He's got 18 extra base hits, but it's been the consistency. He's hit safely in 20 out of 23 games, including that big shot last night that got the Rays going with 2 outs in the 10th inning and led to their victory. No reason to see why he can't keep it going. And Chase Headley, what he's been able to do for the Padres, a 13-game hitting streak. He's hitting 400 over that span with a couple of home runs. I mean, this is a guy, on base average is almost 500. He hits for average. He can hit power, change his swing mechanically to try to get a little bit more backspin on the ball. And this is a guy that just continues to get it done. Right now, he's a lot hotter at the plate from the left side.
And he spent some time on the shelf early with a fractured thumb, but he is hot right now. That's Chase Headley leading the San Diego Padres. Rays get their first look this year. They don't get a chance to see the Padres very often, and when we come back, Todd Callis meets the Padres.
Tropicana Field as the Rays and the Padres get ready for interleague action. Part 2 for the Rays. First time this year for the San Diego Padres. Whenever you face a team like San Diego you don't see very often, a little bit difficult because you're trying to learn the team on the fly, not only for the players in the dugout, but for the fans as well. And with that in mind, here's a look at some of the key players you'll see for San Diego. Brian and Dwayne were just talking about Chase Headley batting third in the lineup and playing third, very similar to what he means to the team with Evan Longoria and what he means to the Tampa Bay Rays. Yonder Alonso, guy who plays first base and hits usually 4 through 6 in their lineup. You can see his numbers. Jason Marquis leading the way in the starting staff, and Houston Street, the guy that finishes the games for the team out of San Diego. For Joe Madden, he knows Bud Black very well, their opposing managers. He sees very much a lot of similarities between these two teams, but also talks about getting ready for this squad.
National League's always difficult, especially a team you see very rarely like them. They're good. I mean, they're playing a lot better. They had the tough start. They're playing well right now. I'm looking up and down their lineup. They have some interesting players. You know, offensively challenged in some ways like we've been, but at any time can really break out and give you a good offensive game, and I think they're getting better there too. Bullpen's good, always has been. Pepe does a great job. That's Buddy Black, and I have a lot of respect for them and what they do over there. So it's going to be an interesting series. I think they've been in this 2 out of 3 twice here now, the last 2 times they've come here. So hopefully we'll get back on board.
We'll find out soon enough. There you see Edinson Volquez, the starter tonight for San Diego. He'll be opposed by the Rays and Alex Cobb. We've got you ready for baseball in less than 3.5 minutes. It's the Rays and the Padres on our Friday night right here on Sun Sports. Dwayne Stats and Brian Anderson right around the corner.
Jays in frustrating fashion. Tampa Bay rallied the past 2 nights to salvage a split with Toronto. Tonight, it's an interleague matchup at the Trop. Evan Longoria and the Rays welcome Chase Headley and the red-hot San Diego Padres. This is the 4th time the Rays have hosted the San Diego Padres here at Tropicana Field. Rays have made just 1 trip out to San Diego, and the Padres are indeed red hot. They won 11 out of 14, 4 in a row, and they're coming off a sweep over the Marlins. Take a look at Bud Black's lineup. Cabrera is going to lead it off. He'll be at shortstop. Will Venable in center. Chase Headley is at third. The DH Carlos Quentin. Yonder Alonso is at first. Jed Jerko is the second baseman. He'll hit sixth. Kyle Blanks in left field. The right fielder hitting eighth, Tristan Orfia. Nick Hundley doing the catching. He'll bat ninth.
Well, taking the mound tonight for the Tampa Bay Rays, right-hander Alex Cobb. His numbers brought to you by Coventry Healthcare of Florida. Off to a great start. You can see there 6 starts, 42 innings of work. He's averaging 7 innings per start, and this is the number that really jumps out at you. Just 8 walks in 33 innings. Does a nice job of not hurting himself, attacking the zone, and that's why you see Alex off to that very good start with that ERA under 3. Let's take a look at the defense as it lines up behind Alex. In the outfield, left to right, Joyce, Fold, and Zobrist. Across the infield, third to first, Longoria, Escobar, Roberts, and Loney. Jose Lobaton will handle the catching duties.
Joe Madden, the Rays skipper. Long-time friendship between Joe and Bud Black, the manager of the San Diego Padres. They were on the coaching staff with the Angels. Back when the Angels won it all in 2002, they were there. Joe here is his 8th season as the Rays skipper. And there's Bud Black. 7 years now as the manager of the San Diego Padres. Former left-handed pitcher.
Well, when I was in the Cleveland Indians organization, he was a rover instructor. And so I got to work with Bud Black and spend some time with him. I'm going to tell you something. Not only knows the game of baseball, but relates to his players so well. He speaks so highly of him because he gets it. He's been out there. There's that ease of access with Bud Black.
Yeah, he's a quality guy. He's a good people guy, and is strong enough to run a ball club.
Yeah.
It's a great quality.
Special attributes.
Yeah, difficult to find all in one. Well, the Padres come in 16-18. The Rays are 16-18. And here's Cabrera, the shortstop. Switch hitter batting left. And Alex Cobb's first pitch of the game. Brought to you by Pinch a Penny. And he missed a little bit high with that one. Cabrera, a .256 average on the year. One and one.
Everett Cabrera, stronger hitter from the left side. One of those guys you want to keep off base because he will run. He's got great speed, good base stealer. He led the National League in stolen bases last year with 44 in just 115 games.
And a strike. You know, that Rule 5 draft sometimes is underappreciated. They think, well, nothing ever really good comes out of that Rule 5 draft. Well, you're looking at an everyday shortstop who did.
Yeah.
They got him from the Rockies in the Rule 5 draft back in '08. Foul ball holds the count at 1-2.
That's where you have to have a heads-up scouting department. You know, you get a little luck, see a guy that's exposed.
And in that way, the Padres are in a similar position as the Rays. Smaller market in terms of corporate presence and area. They're competing with the Dodgers in a big market just to the north of them. So they have to be very smart in the moves that they make to put a contending team on the field.
Well, the one thing they'd like to see Cabrera clean up a little bit is the strikeout. Too many strikeouts out of the leadoff spot. In fact, he leads the team in a number of categories: strikeouts, walks, stolen bases. They like to see him, because of that speed, have a good two-strike approach, put the ball in play, give himself a chance.
Two and two, and you talk about the year he had last season with those 44 steals, caught just 4 times. He wasn't recalled well about this time of the year last year.
Yeah.
So he missed a good part of the major league season, recalled on the 17th of May last year.
Yeah, almost 40 games. Almost 40 games. And, he finished shy of Mike Trout, I believe, by 5 stolen bases for the major league lead. I'm sure if he would have been around from opening day, have that in his hip pocket. Well, up over 50, maybe around 60.
And he's managed to see 7 pitches already here in the leadoff spot. He bounds it again.
And you see a little bit of that two-strike approach right here. That swing a little bit more compact from Everth. You can see that Alex Cobb, they're trying to work that ball in on him, get it right on his hands. A number of pitches. They haven't all gotten there, but that's where they're trying to go. Try to speed him up with the fastball in and then use that good split to try to put him away.
And he got it. Well, there you are. That's the prescription. An extended at bat. Cabrera's swinging over that pitch.
You see right there, it's the spike curve. He tried everything else. Said, how about if I give him that curveball? And that's a good one there. That ball started middle of the plate, just above the knees. Everett could not hold up.
Will Venable, the Padres center fielder. Fastball missed. And it's a 2-ball, no strike count. Fastball for a strike. Venable's father, Max, played in the big leagues with a number of teams, including the Giants and Reds. He spent some time in Montreal when the Expos were up there. Home out in front.
And that's what you're going to have to contend with all night. As much as Alex Cobb doesn't know these hitters, they do not know Alex Cobb. They're going to have to deal with that split. That was a filthy pitch.
One out with the bases empty. And a long one to right field. He got into that one and hits it out. Turned on the fastball.
Well, you know, that's the scouting report. The scouting report on Will Venable is he is a fastball middle-in hitter. And you saw that entire at bat. A couple of fastballs, they were lined up to go in there. And this one, it's exactly, look at that, trying to go fastball in, middle in. That's where he wants it. That one did leak back middle, but that was hammered.
Venable's 5th home run of the year. Chase Headley takes the pitch down and in. A curveball to start him. Headley hitting .320. He had 31 home runs last year. Led the National League in runs batted in. Changeup had him out in front. See, right now he's working on the 13-game hitting streak. Hitting .400 for the life of that. So Cobb touched for the home run, the 6th home run he's given up this year. 3 to left-handed hitters now and 3 to right-handed hitters. Nice catch there.
That was a nice catch.
Yeah, had the left-hander's mitt.
Right into
and she's impressed.
She is.
Yeah. And look, what a gentleman.
Right.
Oh, he knows exactly what he's doing. And a swing and a foul tip strikeout. Headley out on strikes for the 2nd out.
Another split. Wasted a couple out there already. Then just a nasty pitch. Everything Headley could do to try to get out there, and just foul tipped it right into the glove. Yeah, I mean, who knew that Apostles could ball like that?
There's Carlos Quentin, the DH. One ball, no strikes. Count is now 1-1. Cabrera struck out. Venable hit the home run. Headley struck out. We've already seen Lightning strike once here with Venable's home run. And a little tapper foul outside of third. 1-2. Rays and the Padres, first of 3. Cobb ahead in the count. There you go. On the check down to first. Ryan Honora says he held up.
Trying to get him to bite after that split. You know, Carlos Quentin not off to the greatest start with the average at just 169, but that was close. You know what he's capable of, and at any moment he can break out of it. He's got tremendous power. Better shot there, held up.
Bouncing ball. His season last year, in many ways, a lost year for him. He played in just 86 games because of knee surgery. Hit 16 home runs, and 5 of those came in his first 6 games. Remember Carlos Quentin from his time in the American League with the White Sox. A run home on the long one to right. Padres come in here under 500, but red hot. This is only the 3rd series the Rays will have played this year against a team under 500, and they catch a team under 500 red hot.
They've won 11 out of 14. Oh, they've won 4 in a row, and in those 4 games they've given up a grand total of how many, Dwayne? 2 runs?
Yeah, I think that's right.
2 runs,
Their
2 shutouts.
Their starting pitching has really carried them recently. It was a problem early for them, but that's really rounded into shape.
And then you look at what Headley's done over the last 13 games, leading the way offensively, and it's no wonder they're winning.
A shot down the left field line. That ball's got distance and is gone. Carlos Quentin hits one out of here. 2 solo home runs in the first off Alex Cobb. That's his 3rd home run of the year.
Well, that's why a hitter like Carlos Quentin, you look at that 169 average and you look right past it. He can do this at any moment. Saw a lot of pitches, got one out over the plate where he could get extension. Strong.
Yonder Alonso, their first baseman, takes a big cut. So a solo home run by Venable to right, a solo home run by Quentin to left. It's 2-0 San Diego. One and one. Alonso, born in Havana. He's out of the University of Miami. 2 strikes. You know, both Venable and Quentin extended their at-bats, hitting pitches out on a 2-2 count, and Quentin fouled off a number of pitches before getting that home run pitch.
And you've got Alex Cobb, who comes into this game averaging 14.5 pitches per inning. He's been so efficient all season long, and he's now up over 30.
Well, the count is full to Alonso. That's his 32nd pitch.
And not
the inning.
Yeah, and it's not all Alex. It's not all his fault. It's not like he's been terribly wild, but these San Diego hitters have done a nice job of fighting pitches off, fouling pitches off, just working counts.
Tap to the right side. Roberts to Loney. So the damage contained to 2 solo home runs. 2-0 Rays coming in to hit down. Already down by 2. Couple of solo blasts by the Padres. Joe Madden's lineup has Matt Joyce leading off for the 2nd time this year. Ryan Roberts and Ben Zobrist 3rd. Evan Longoria, James Loney, and the DH is Luke Scott down the middle. Sam Fuld, Jose Lobaton, and then Yunel Escobar, the shortstop, bats 9th.
Taking the mound tonight for the San Diego Padres is going to be right-hander Edinson Volquez. His numbers brought to you by Coventry Healthcare of Florida. A really rough start to the year for Edinson. First 3 starts, he was 0-3 with an 11.68 earned run average. But in his last 4, 3-0, ERA under 2.5, and he's won his last 3 consecutive starts, throwing the ball very well now.
First pitch is a fastball. Strike 1.
And you'll see if he's able to keep the ball down consistency, he has very good late life and action when it's down. If it's up, like most pitchers, it flattens out, becomes very hittable.
1 ball, 1 strike. See, Matt is a leadoff hitter in his career in 3 games, 3 home runs. Madden every once in a while moves him up there. Actually, when he led off this year, and then Joe kept him at the top of the lineup, hitting him 2nd for a stretch, and he really seemed to respond to that.
Oh yeah, and then he would just disappear.
Two balls, 2 strikes. Here's against the White Sox, against Jake Peavy in the leadoff spot.
That really got him going.
And would like to see some more of that tonight. Fly ball the other way. Blanks is there to make the catch.
Well, you see what right there, the numbers. Just a rough start for Edinson. Lost the first 3 starts. That unsightly ERA, rough way to start a year, but how about the rebound? My goodness. He's coming off an outing against the Diamondbacks where he pitched into the 7th inning, 6 2/3, gave up 1 earned run. And I'll tell you what, he's got that good fastball, like I said, down, good late light, good spike curveball, and a changeup. High energy kind of guy.
Roberts takes a fastball in the mid-90s.
I'm going to say right now a high velo kind of guy.
Yeah, really. And he had not been throwing with that kind of velocity early in the year. And again, it's a good, strong fastball at 95. Roberts behind in the count, 1-2. Volquez originally in the Texas Rangers organization and actually got to the big leagues with the Rangers. Fastball 96.
Okay.
Just missed.
Oh, easy, big fella.
I'm telling you. You know, we have seen him before with some pretty good velocity, but this year his numbers have not approached 95 and 96, but they certainly are tonight here in the first inning. Roberts, that's a foul ball. And Colbert on the call there, and assertively so.
Yeah, you can't leave any room for discussion.
Cut and a miss. It's the first strikeout for Volquez. Got him with a breaking ball.
Let's take a look at the Padres defense as it lines up. In the outfield, left to right, Kyle Blanks, Will Venable, and Chris DeNorfia. Across the infield, third to first, Chase Headley, Everett Cabrera, Jed Jerko, and Yonder Alonso. Nick Hundley will be behind the plate.
Now Ben Zobrist takes the pitch wide. Ball, no strikes. Two up, two down. Volquez has 47 major league wins to go with 43 losses. Two and 0. Up originally with Texas in 05. Wound up going to Cincinnati and then on to San Diego. Ball 4. Zobrist draws the walk.
Well, you could tell after the second changeup, Volquez, when he fell behind 2-0, just did not want to give in to Ben Zobrist with a 2-0 fastball right out of the plate. Tried to hump up on one, missed, then missed again badly. Now he's got to deal with Evan Longoria, who's been swinging very, very hot, consistent bat the last 3 weeks or so.
Well, he's 6th in the American League in hitting now with that .331 average. And he's been on a power run as well. After the first pitch, it fouls it with Volquez out of the stretch now with a runner at first and 2 gone. 1 ball, 1 strike. In fact, Volquez was involved in the trade that sent Josh Hamilton to Texas. It would have been in 07. Two on the foul ball. Volquez had a really great year with Cincinnati. The following season, his first was 08, traded over the winter in 07, and then went 17-6 for the Reds in 2008.
Well, I can't speak for the Rays lineup, but I know one thing that doesn't have a chance tonight that Edinson Volquez, and that's that piece of gum he's got in his mouth. He's been doing a number on that guy.
Liner into right center for a base hit. Going to send Zobrist to third. The Rays with 2 outs put runners on the corners. Evan Longoria continues his hot hitting.
He's just got a smooth stroke going right now. The Rays trying to put something together here with 2 outs and that ball on the outer half. And Evan, a nice job of just staying and going right with it with authority to the right side, and now first and third.
His 44th hit of the year, and he's been on base in 34 of the 35 games for the Rays this year. And if you backdate it into September of last year, that's 48 out of 49 games he's reached safely. Here's James Loney. Started the day second in the league in hitting with his .381 average. Short. Cabrera's throw across to Alonso, and the Rays lead 2. We'll go into inning number 2. Rays down 2-0. To you by Just for Men Auto Stop, the foolproof way to get rid of gray. By Toyota, let's go places. And by the Tampa Bay Times, amazing stories only in the 2013 Pulitzer Prize winning Tampa Bay Times. Jed Jerko leads it off here in the second inning. Padres' second baseman. Alex Cobb's first pitch is a strike. Well, Cobb not exactly where he wanted to be in that first inning when he made 33 pitches and gave up 2 solo home runs. Big cut, foul ball, 0-2. Well, the Padres think a lot of Jerko. They feel as if he's going to be a solid major league hitter.
See what he did last year between AA and AAA. Hit 311, 30 home runs, drove in 100. Those are huge numbers for a minor league season. It's a month shorter.
And he's at second base. He's played a lot of third base. He's went to school at West Virginia. But they think he can play second base as well. If you get those numbers
Oh, man.
from a second baseman.
Jeff Kent.
Yep. He's out on strikes the first time around. Cobb had him out in front. So 3 strikeouts for Alex Cobb.
All 3 on the split.
It's Kyle Blanks. Curveball to start him misses. 1 ball, no strikes. Outside at third, down in front of Glenn Hoffman toward the bullpen. 1 ball, 1 strikeout. The Padres had their season last year really marred by injuries as they try to compete in the National League West. They wound up 4th in the NL West with 76 wins, 76 and 86. Breaking ball in for a strike. 1-2.
Ooh.
2-2.
Boy, that was close. That was a nice pitch, and I think Alex thought that was going to be called a strike. He had that body language like, thanks for coming.
And you can see why.
Yes.
How close that pitch is. Wow. And he checked. Honora first on that call, and the count is full. A miss, so he comes back, has him out in front on the changeup. Back-to-back strikeouts. 2 up, 2 down.
I'll tell you what, 4 strikeouts, 4. Look at this pitch, the finish. You can throw that right down the middle. That's what makes that pitch so deadly. You don't have to spot it perfectly each and every time. For the most part, he's done a great job of that tonight. The location, the speed, and the finish on that pitch have been stellar.
Chris Denorfia, the right fielder. He looks at a fastball around the knees for strike 1. The bouncer over the head of Cobb. Picked up by Escobar. Throw to first. That's not going to be in time. A bounding ball, a big hop over Cobb over the mound, and that gave Denorfia a chance to beat it out, and he did.
Well, that was great hustle by Denorfia. Good effort all around from the right side, getting up the line, and Escobar making a nice play here. He fields this ball, gets rid of it very quickly. Strong throw. Not anything you could do. That's just infield hit. No fault of anyone.
Nick Hundley, the catcher. He takes a strike. Hundley swinging the bat pretty well, and the Padres happy about that at 270. 3 home runs and 11 RBIs. He had knee issues a year ago that really curtailed his effectiveness. Move to first, right back in Denorfia. The Padres will run, spread out through their lineup with Cabrera, their leadoff man, leading the way with 10. But as a team, they have 24 steals. And Hundley's hit by the pitch. Pitch in on him and plucks him. So Denorfia goes to second, and the number 9 hitter Hundley heads to first.
Well, that was just a split that got away. That split change catching him right on that right inside of the right elbow of his throwing arm, no less. And I'll tell you what, this San Diego Padre team has had trouble as it is throwing out base stealers. They've given up the most in the National League, 30, only thrown out 6. Having your catcher get plunked on the inside of his throwing arm, probably not a good thing.
Now we'll go back around to the top of the order. Everett Cabrera, who struck out his first time. He's out in front of the first pitch. Strike 1. Padres starting a 2-city road trip. 3 here against the Rays, and then they'll move it to Baltimore. Just off a homestand in which they went 5-1. We mentioned at the outset they're coming off a 3-game sweep of Miami, and they took 2 out of 3 from Arizona in the first series on their just completed homestand. And it's strike 2. Breaking pitch, and it's 1-2. Cobb already to 50 pitches. It's usually good enough for about 4 innings. Turn, nothing doing. 2 men on with 2 men out. We're in the second.
This is the same team that started off last season 29-50. Not very good at all, but finished up 47-36 the rest of the way. Certainly turned things around there as the season went on, especially in the second half.
Foul ball. He got just a little piece of that one to stay alive.
And that's been kind of a snapshot of their year so far here in 2013. The rough start. And then the turnaround. Resilient bunch. You know, Bud Black, much like Joe Madden, in the sense that they don't show any panic. They don't show any weakness. Very positive.
It's tough to do. You lose 12 out of 15 the way they did to start the season.
Yeah.
You go, wait a minute.
Yeah. In that division.
Yeah. And strike 3 call. Cabrera caught looking. So 3 strikeouts in the inning to go with an infield hit and a hit batter. 2-0 San Diego. the second inning. Let's take a look at tonight's AT&T social media poll. What's your favorite Kenny Loggins song from a movie soundtrack? TB1, I'm Alright, Caddyshack. TB2, from the appropriately named Footloose. TB3, Beat Me Halfway, Over the Top. Or TB4, Danger Zone, Top Gun. Tweet your vote to @SunSportsRays. Kenny Loggins here tomorrow night. Luke Scott in the batter's box right now, and he takes pitch in there for strike one, off speed. Scott at 348. Returning to action after starting the season on the disabled list. 0-2. Last pitch, a fastball in there. Fold will follow, and then Lobaton. Luke Scott delivered last night. Truly a walk-off win when he drew that walk with the bases loaded to force home Longoria, giving the Rays a 5-4 10-inning victory.
Yeah, what this doesn't tell you is that he was down in the count 0-2. Very uncomfortable place to be in, and he worked that right to the game-winning walk.
Down 0-2 right now against Volquez. One. There we are. 2 balls, 2 strikes after falling behind this time around. A full count. Well, they did it the hard way last night, getting behind. Down 0-2 the first time up tonight.
Well, and more than likely, with Volquez probably not wanting to walk the leadoff guy, he's going to get a pitch here to handle. Luke Scott's been swinging a very good bat for the Rays since coming off the disabled list.
Chopper back at first, fair. Alonso, the first baseman, taking care of that with Volquez receiving that little toss.
Now that's where you get the late action. You know, Volquez is able to keep that ball at the bottom of the strike zone. You may think you've got a pretty good beat on it, but that late life, just a little bit, that's all it takes, a little dip in that pitch, and you pound it right into the ground.
Sam Fold. It's a strike to Sam. Ground ball. That's going to be a foul ball. Just foul. Denora demonstrative on that call as well. Brian O'Nora making that call, and that was very close.
Yeah, it was out in front on a changeup. Let's see if you can pick up the ball right in the yep, good call. Oh, he's right on it, and he was demonstrative, much like Colbreth was on the ball that was fouled near home plate. Sell it. It's all about selling it, D-Ray.
That's what I hear. And they're doing it. Line drive, and it's caught. A leaping grab by Alonso down at first. Fold made a bid for an extra base hit, but Alonso got that big mitt up there to grab it.
He had one play. Leave your feet and catch the ball. That's it. I mean, that was right at him. That was nicely done. The ball was smoking.
So the bases are empty for Jose Lobaton, who bats with 2 outs. And lifts the first pitch into center. It's Will Venable putting it away. We've gone through 2-0 Padres. Third, hey, I've got the latest tweet from Todd at Tampa Bay TK. Hey, how about this? Love our newest star at K-Nash Sports, but also can't wait to catch up with Miss Florida. And I think he has. Todd, where are you?
We're lounging in the Tradewind Resorts lounge chairs.
Just look at you.
Another day in the office. But look who's here. The familiar face of Laura McKeeman. Welcome back.
Well, thank you, Todd. It's so good to be back. And, you know, what a better way to enjoy my time here than lounging in these Tradewinds lounge chairs.
Is there a little flag we can put up for pool waitress service? Laura, you have been you've been unbelievable since you left us, and we couldn't be happier for you. Miss Florida, top 16. Congratulations. And now you're working for the opposition, huh?
Yeah, you know, it feels really weird being back here, I have to be honest, because, you know, obviously spent so many great times with the Rays, but doing the Padres work has been really fun. I kind of get to be the Todd of the Padres. That's what I think.
Todd of the pod?
Exactly, Todd of the pod. So it's been really great, and I'm just so thankful for all the people here that helped me get to that point.
Well, we love Kelly Nash. She's our new Laura.
She does a great job.
She really does. But we must say, we couldn't be more proud of you. I know I'm speaking for Dwayne and BA as well. They send along their best, and we're happy to have you here at least for the weekend, if not for the whole home season.
Well, it's wonderful to be back in town, and I appreciate the warm welcome from everyone. And Dwayne and BA, I mean, what's up with those guys? I haven't heard. It's like I leave town, I don't hear anything from them. What's up with that?
Let them answer that right now. Guys?
We're working very hard.
Working very hard, they say.
I have not been working very hard. I was left with I was left with absolutely no chance. I mean, nothing. I had no contact information.
No forward.
Not an email. Not a. I had no tweet. No phone number. No secondary phone number. I had nothing.
Hey, this pitch gets away on strike 3. Venable's going to reach to open the third. Well, so there you are. There's essentially no forwarding address.
So, Laura, they're claiming that they did not know how to reach you.
Well, they can always tweet me. I know they love Twitter.
There you go.
See, there's our problem.
That's the closeout,
That's
boys,
it.
right there.
All right.
We're going to order some rum runners and Mai Tais back to you.
Yeah, put up the flag. Well, a strikeout and a wild pitch, and Venable is aboard to start the third. It's been an uneven start for Alex Cobb here tonight. And now Chase Headley is red hot and the heart of the Padres lineup with the man at first. Which is down. Six strikeouts for Alex Cobb tonight. He's trailing 2-0, and the Padres have a runner at first with nobody out in the third. Venable's also a guy who'll do a little running.
Yeah. Yep. 1 and 2. Those are the guys. 10 stolen bases by Cabrera, 5 for Will Venable.
Cobb is behind Headley, 2-0. There could be a tendency on the part of Alex Cobb to rush a little bit.
Yeah.
With a base stealing threat aboard.
Well, and you know that's why you want to keep those guys off base, because if you do start to pay too much attention to them and rush, pitches flatten out, they stay up, and the guys coming up here can handle them. That was a nice split. And I'll tell you, that pitch has been good for Alex all night. The majority of his strikeouts have been on that pitch, if not all of them. Watch the finish. Right down the middle of the plate. Chase Headley thinks he's got a ball that he can get some uppercut lift on. And it's just not there anymore. He's been hurt by 2 fastballs. The one to Quentin was, it wasn't a terrible pitch. It was down. He just went out and got it. The one to Venable came back middle, and it was just a mistake pitch that got hit out. That's going to happen. But other than that, Alex has thrown the ball well. These San Diego hitters have done a great job of working counts and building, making him, look at the 60 pitches right now in the third without an out, making him work very hard.
And he just misses there. And he's way behind Headley. 3 balls and a strike. And again a move to first as he continues to pay close attention to Will Venable. Cobb's season high so far in strikeouts this year is 7. He has 6 right now. And we'll go 3-2 with Headley.
That's a gutsy pitch there, but he's got good feel for that split change. He's not afraid to throw it here. 3-1.
Well, that's the great thing about him. He has confidence on those nights when he's normally who he is out there. He'll have confidence in all of his pitches to throw them on any count, and especially that one is so great. Again to first.
You know how hard it is for a hitter to prepare for that? Hitters want to get into counts where they can start to eliminate pitches, make things more predictable for them. They get a guy that's willing to throw a 3-1 split change for a strike, and by the way, if he didn't swing at that pitch, it was still going to be a strike. The fact that he's willing to do that, hitters factor that in. They're just never comfortable, quite sure what you're going to throw.
Runner goes, swing and a miss, and the throw down is not going to be in time. Venable does steal. Headley strikes out on the changeup for the second time. Venable's 6th stolen base.
Well, good jump there by Venable, and he had this stolen easy. I mean, it doesn't matter where that throw is from Loganson. They're not going to get Venable on that particular play. Does pick up a good strikeout on another changeup.
It's Carlos Quentin who homered down the left field side, back into the corner in the first. There goes a runner stealing third, and the throw is not in time. And a good job by Longoria to gather that throw in.
I think what Will Venable did is he got that jump off Alex and stole second so easily that he thought, you know what, I've got him down and I can go to third and get it. And he takes off and gets this one easily. And you're right, Wayne. Evan making sure that he corrals that baseball, keep it in front of him, and keep Venable at third base.
Yeah, Venable had such a good jump that Longoria didn't have to worry about a possible tag. He just wanted to keep the ball on the infield. Now the infield pulls up with a 1-0 count on Quentin. Little tap foul. It's 1-1 and on the breaking ball.
If you're Joe, you can do this with a good amount of confidence because of the fact that Alex Cobb gets so many ground balls. And sometimes when you pull the infield up like this and you got a fly ball pitcher on the mound, you're crossing your fingers. But Alex Cobb, very adept at getting the ground ball, and the Rays put the shift on here in the middle of the count. Ryan Roberts now over on the shortstop side of second base. There's Ryan here, Escobar here.
Here we go, 1-1. Ball, 2 strikes. The changeup from Cobb a little harder than his normal changeup. He's out in front, nevertheless, and up in the count, 1-2. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Two balls, 2 strikes. And did he go? Yes, that pitch in the dirt. He'll be out at first, holding at third, Venable, and Lobaton got out, got the angle to make the throw to first. Cobb came down to cover the plate.
Boy, again, the split changeup. This one actually bounces in front of the plate. Quentin committed way too far. Nice block there by Lobaton, and then finishing it off right here. But how about that pitch? 8 strikeouts already, and at least 7. Yeah, and he had 1 on a curveball. That pitch has been huge for Alex.
Well, his career high is 10. So 8 already. First pitch to the Padre first baseman Yonder Alonso is a strike. The count is 1-1. The runner at third base, Venable, struck out but reached on a wild pitch, swiped second and third, while Headley and Quentin were striking out. So at this point, 8 outs have been recorded. So 8 strikeouts, but only 7 outs on those 8 strikeouts. The other out came on the ground ball by Alonso when Roberts threw him out.
Who's at the plate right now?
Up, and a walk has been called, and that's going to give San Diego their 3rd run.
That's a tough way to give it up. I mean, Alex almost back-to-back strikeouts, looking to work his way out of the jam. Let's take a look. He's out of the windup. Yeah, see, he started his delivery home and then stopped and then tried to step off.
A big cut to miss. So now it's a 3-0 game.
That's why you see those guys, when guys go out of a windup down there, as soon as you start your motion, they'll sometimes make a quick burst down the line just to try to get you to switch something up, to pause, to hesitate, anything to try to get you in your head and cause exactly what happened right there.
So this continues to be a difficult outing in the sense that Cobb just never has, even though he has 8 strikeouts, he's never settled in to a rhythm the way you'd love to. And now a balk, the latest development.
Well, and look, I mean, he gave up the home run. The pitch to Quentin, okay, he went down and got it fine. He made a mistake to Venable. But then he strikes Venable out to start the inning, and the ball gets by, and he gets down to first. Then he swipes second, swipes third. He strikes out 2 more guys, and then gets called for a balk. I mean, it's so frustrating because his pitch is so much better than that.
Well, he struck out 4 men in that inning. He has 9 in the game, and he trails 3-0. We move into the bottom of the 3rd. Tonight's Rays game presented in high definition, brought to you by H.H. Gregg.
Wonder who they came with.
They don't appear to be concerned about it
at all.
Edinson Volquez back to the hill. So the Rays down by 3. How about this? When was the last time you saw a run scored in an inning when every hitter struck out? Alex Cobb striking out 4 in the top half of this inning and a run scored. Here's Escobar. The pitch is down. The Rays have had a couple of those strange innings in that Blue Jays series. They had a 4-run second inning in which they sent 8 men to the plate and they all reached. Everybody who hit in that inning reached, and yet that inning did come to a conclusion as the Rays scored 4 runs on 6 hits. And here in the top of the 3rd, 4 strikeouts and a run scored for San Diego. Escobar takes that one for a strike. Yanel Escobar hitting ninth, leading off the home half of the third. Fouls it off the right foot of the catcher, Hundley. Jeremy Hellickson had a game in August of 2011 when he struck out 4 in one inning in a game against the Tigers. Alex Cobb striking out 4 in the top of the third tonight and giving up a run. Escobar fouls it out of play. Escobar reaching for that one is gone. Out number 1, down on strikes.
It's that changeup down and off the plate that gets Escobar reaching and out in front. And the way that he's been able to power that fastball tonight, that's going to be a huge pitch for him. You talk a lot about the curveball with Volquez, with that changeup that's very good, playing well off the heater.
Here's Matt Joyce. Starts him the breaking ball, but it stayed high, 1-0. Two-0 count. Hot shot up the right side, but foul. Rays battle back to win the last 2 games of the 4-game series against the Toronto Blue Jays, and they find themselves down 3-0 early tonight. And Joyce ahead in the count against the 27-year-old right-hander. And he walks it. So the Rays get a base runner with 1 out. Ron Roberts will be the hitter. Reminder in tonight's game and all season long, Tires Plus donates $100 to the Pediatric Cancer Foundation for every Tampa Bay Rays home run televised on Sun Sports. Ryan Roberts struck out in the first inning, bats again in the third. One ball, no strikes. First pitch high. And a visit to the mound by Hundley. Volquez out of the Dominican Republic, and when he originally signed, he signed as Julio Reyes. And about that time came the crackdown on for security reasons on IDs, and at the time he represented himself to be about a year and a half younger than he was under a different name. 2 balls, no strikes. He's still just 27. We think.
The lure of Major League Baseball. I mean, anything to get a chance.
And can you blame him?
Right,
no.
To make yourself more appealing.
Yep.
I got a good arm at 20, but if I'm 17, guess what?
Well, the same situation happened with Joel Peralta.
Yeah.
You know, the tryout camps, and You'd like to make yourself a year or two younger. You got a little better shot. Why not? Three 3-0 now to Roberts. And that's a strike. Roberts stepping across the plate, thinking perhaps he had drawn the walk. Colbert's not going for it. At the very top of the zone. Rays down 3-0. They've been averaging a little over 4.5 runs a game. So that slow start with the bats, things have been very good, and so the runs per game number for the year is 4.6.
Well, for a prolonged period. I mean, look how long we've been talking about Evan Longoria swinging a hot bat. James Loney swinging a hot bat. We talked about Luke Scott tonight in the 9 games since he's come back. Matt Joyce for a spell there. You got a lot of guys chipping in. When you get that kind of production all at the same time, numbers are going to go north.
And there's ball 4. Roberts draws the walk. So a couple of back-to-back bases on balls. So the Rays, who can draw some walks, they'll be patient now suddenly with 2 base runners.
Hey, this is a team right here that they've walked the second most hitters in the National League coming into play tonight. And, you know, Mark Grant, the analyst for the Padres, said something in that discussion with Todd about Volquez, and you can see he's got a pretty violent delivery. He really jumps at the hitters coming at them. And he said when he keeps a straight line to the plate, he's very, very good. That's what they've seen the last 4 starts. When he starts to come undone a little bit and starts peeling off towards first base and jerking himself towards first base a little too soon, that's when you see the command start to go south, and that was what was happening the first 3 starts when he struggled so much. Well, that's what he's done with the last 2 hitters here, and he's put them on via the free pass.
Yeah, he got off to an 0-3 start with an 11.68 earned run average. In his last 4 outings, he's 3-0 with a 2.49. Got a couple men on now. 2 walks in front of Zobrist with Longoria due to hit next. So this is the time to put a couple base runners on. Ben walked his first time. And he lifts the fly ball to center. Venable will make the catch. Tag at second. Joyce goes to third. And the Rays will have men on the corners for Evan Longoria. Evan worked the count to 2-2 his first time and singled into right center. And the Rays would love to come out of this inning with at least something. Got the potential tying run at the plate, but here's a situation where a 2-out hit could mean they would get on the board and get James Loney up there. Rays left men at first and third in the first inning. Now they have runners again on the corners in the third. First pitch is outside. Because starting a curveball and it was wide. Well, he gets the corner this time. And right back with that same pitch and picked up the edge.
Very close here.
Well, maybe he didn't pick up the edge.
Yeah, after all.
It's closer.
He's moving it in the right direction.
Fly ball short center. Venable coming in. Can't get there. Base hit. run will score. Joyce crosses the plate as Roberts moves into third. The Rays are on the board. Evan Longoria collecting the RBI with his second hit of the night.
Well, the first one was smoked. This one out in front, right off the end of the bat. Just out in no man's land. Venable cannot get there.
Boy, for the momentum of this game, important for the Rays to at least get on the board there, and they've done that. Now let's see what they can do with James Loney coming up. Loney a ground out to short his first time. And a wild pitch. Here comes Roberts down the third base line, and it's a 3-2 ball game. Longoria follows in the second. So the Rays make it a one-run contest.
You see, yank that fastball, and right there, Hundley not going down to block it. He tries to backhand it. That's a very dangerous ploy there for that ball. That's what can happen, especially with it being the fastball. That ball ricocheted all over the place, and fortunate for the Rays, closed it within one.
But Black not happy about that.
Well, you know, catchers, a lot of times off speed, you're assuming and preparing for a potential pitch in the dirt, usually not on the fastball.
He chops it to short again. And a bobble by Cabrera. The throw in time. Boy, he almost pulled Alonso off the bag too soon. Deloney's out of there. The Rays settle for two. They make it a 3-2 ball game.
One-run game heading to the fourth inning. Alex Cobb did pitch against Colorado in his last start, but he said in that start, even though he didn't know the team, he had a chance to watch them a couple of games. How did he get ready for tonight? Here's Cobb.
You know, Hick does a lot of in-depth scouting with the video, and you know, finds swing patterns on guys and stuff like that. And you know, I hear from him, but you know, I'll have to go in the video room and kind of look at guys a little bit. And you know, this is a team that we never even see on TV much or anything like that. So it's going to be a completely new list of names for me and a new approach.
Along those lines, Jeremy Hellickson said he was going to pay close attention to Cobb and how players reacted to his pitches tonight. Guys, back to you.
All right, thank you. Well, it's been an interesting outing for Cobb through 3 innings. It's a strike to Jerko to start the fourth. 75 pitches for Cobb. He has 9 strikeouts. And he's quickly in front of the San Diego second baseman 0-2.
A memo to Jeremy Hellickson through 3 innings, vulnerable to changeup. Locate that fastball, that changeup that Jeremy has should play very well.
And a cut and a miss. Gurko is out on strikes. And that is 10 strikeouts for Alex Cobb. 1 out into the 4th inning.
That one gets away from Lobatone, and Venable able to get there. He gets another strikeout on the steal. About one more good block there by Lobatone, and then right there the ball start there. And just because he can.
Kyle Blanks. Through ball. It's a ball, 1-0. 10 strikeouts. He had 10 strikeouts against Miami in June of last year. He went 7 shutout innings in that game.
There's been 10 outs.
1 out into the 4th. He has 10 strikeouts tonight. 1-1 to count. Ten strikeouts, 9 resulting in outs. And the other out, a ground ball to second by Alonso. Big 10 on the scoreboard here at Tropicana Field, and it comes in the 4th inning. 1 hitter into the 4th. Foul right back, holding the count at 1-2. Knight struck out on a changeup his first time. Holds the count at a ball and 2 strikes. Three runs, 3 hits for San Diego. 2 runs, 2 hits for the Rays. Chop to third. Scooped by Longoria. Throw to first in time. Evan ranging to his left. Scooped that one and made the play.
That's beautiful. That is absolute poetry down there at third base. Evan Longoria playing this tough hop. I mean, you just don't do it any better than what he does down there.
You could put that to music.
Yes, and then a crescendo.
Two outs. Chris Denorfia. Ground ball. That's going to go through the right side. He takes a fastball in between first and second. So he's 2 for 2. He had that chopper over the mound, and he beat the throw in the second inning. Now Denorfia is aboard again with a base hit to right. 2-out single. Catcher Nick Hundley. Hundley hit by a pitch. Starts and stops. The pitch is down. Boy, Denorfia, who has 2 steals in 2 attempts this year, trying to steal his way into second.
Well, coming into play tonight, we talked about the most stolen bases given up in the National League. The only team to give up more stolen bases in all of baseball, Tampa Bay Rays.
And Denorfia is back in.
They saw what Will Venable was able to do also. Perfect situation too. 2 outs down at the bottom of the order. Take a chance, get
Cobb keeping an eye on Denorfia. The 2 steals in the third when Cobb struck out 4. Those 2 steals led to a run in concert with the balk. It's a 1-1 count. Move to first again. We struggled better part of last year with bad right knee. 1 and 2. Finally had surgery in August to end his season. Things have gone much better for him, particularly from the offensive side of things this year. Came into the game hitting .270. Two and 2. Runner goes. The pitch is fouled.
Thank goodness, because that jump was huge by Denorfia. He would have swiped that bag.
Well, here's what the opposition, if they haven't scouted it out to begin with, they realize that even if Cobb takes a look over there, he takes a lot of time unloading the ball. And if they time him up, there's just no chance for a catcher to throw the runner out.
The 2 steals by Venable, non-competitive throws by Lobaton. Nothing he could do.
Denorfia goes. The pitch is a ball, and the throw pops away from Escobar. It appeared that they might have had a chance to get him if that throw was gloved and the tag applied, but it became academic, and Denorfia has his 3rd stolen base of the year.
Lobaton's strong throw here. That would have been close, but that ball, Escobar trying to backhand it, never is able to corral it.
3rd stolen base of the night for San Diego in as many attempts.
Not only that, but even if Escobar catches that, his leg was in the way of the tag. He'd almost tag himself first before he got to Denorfia.
And that wouldn't work.
No. Not at any level does that work. Cannot. There's no ghost man in the big leagues. But his left leg was between the glove and Denorfia.
So Cobb will have to make another 3-2 pitch to Hundley, where the Rays have narrowed the gap to only 1. And the Padres stealing their way into scoring position. Ball 4 is down. So with 2 outs, runners at first and second on the first walk of the night given up by Cobb. Rays baseball here at Tropicana Field is the perfect place to host your group event. Whether you're getting a group of friends together or entertaining clients and employees, Tropicana Field, the best place to be. For more information, visit raysbaseball.com or call 855-GROUP-TB. It's Cabrera. The pitch is a strike. quick on the fastball for strike 2. Bounding ball the other way, foul. First and second, 2 outs, 2 strikes, the count to Cabrera. A lot of strikeouts tonight. And a big chop to third, charge. It's a barehand pickup by Longoria, and the bases are going to be loaded. Evan realized he's going to have to try the barehand pickup with the glove. No chance. As it turned out, he didn't have a chance anyway. So Denorfia goes to third, Hundley to second on the infield base hit for Cabrera. And suddenly with 2 outs, the bases are loaded.
The wrong guy hit that. There wasn't a play to be made, much like Denorfia's chopper earlier in the game. Nothing the Rays defense could do.
And BA, how about the pitch count at this point? 10 strikeouts, but a lot of pitches with it.
That's the problem. We're in the 4th inning. 2 outs in the 4th. Let's say he gets through this inning on the next pitch. 4 innings, 96 pitches. How much longer is he going to go? Maybe 5? He maybe can get through the 5th. And that may end his night. And that's unfortunate because he's not throwing the ball poorly at all. I mean, the balk hurt him, obviously. He was on the verge of getting out of that inning. In fact, he struck out 4 in that inning.
Yeah.
He gave up a couple of home runs. The pitch to Quentin, what are you going to do? He had battled you. He got a fastball down and out over the plate, but was down. The one pitch to Venable was one mistake that he's made. That's it. And he's racked up all these strikeouts. His changeup has been fantastic, and yet he may find himself out of here quick because I tell you, the Padres have done a nice job of working him, working counts.
Now here is Venable. Takes the pitch outside. Opening fastball. A little base hit through the right side of the infield by Denorfia started this, and now the bases are loaded with 2 outs. Fouled into the screen. A 1-1 count. That's too low. 2-1. Cobb wants to talk with Lobaton. The high pitch count for Alex this year, 107 his last outing, 6 2/3 against the Rockies. A couple others at 106. He's at 99 pitches right now, 2 outs here in the 4th. Two balls, 2 strikes. Well, the ratio is pretty good here. 67 strikes out of 100, but a lot of pitches. Now the 2-2. Rolled foul. It's in front of Dave Roberts.
And this is what they've done. Foul ball, flip a pitch, take a couple.
Cobb taking a deep breath out there on the hill, having made 101 pitches. And trying to end the top half of the 4th. Venable is out on strikes. 11 strikeouts on the night. The Padres leave the bases loaded in the 4th inning. Adam out in front. 3-2 San Diego. strange here with all these pitches and strikeouts and what we've had happen to this point. You can share your experience as a Rays fan. Has something magical ever happened to you while watching a Rays game? We want to hear about it. Visit RaysBaseball.com/welcome home and tell us your story. Luke Scott will open the bottom of the 4th. Rays got 2 runs in the 3rd. Chip away at the deficit. First pitch from Volquez is high, a curveball to start Luke Scott. Sam Pohl next, and then Jose Lobaton. Volquez speeding it up there a bit for the fastball. It's 1-1. Because last year won 11 and lost 11 for the Padres. 3-3 this year. Scott fell behind 0-2 his first time up and then worked the count full before grounding out. It's a 2-ball 1-strike count right now. 2-2. Foul ball off the check swing to keep the at-bat going. Walk-off walk last night, giving the Rays a win. It was a 4th such walk-off walk in Rays history. The last time that happened, Carlos Pena walked in the game in August of 2008, and that was against the Tigers and was against Fernando Rodney. Three balls, 2 strikes. Again, Luke has worked the count all the way full. Foul out of play. Volquez just a little over 60 pitches as he works to Scott, leading off the bottom of the 4th. Alex Cobb is over 100 pitches through 4. Chopped to first, gloved by Alonso, and another toss to Volquez. Same thing as in the 2nd inning after working the count full. That chopper down to first, and the pitcher had to cover.
Yeah, not an easy play as Alonso made it look. That last hop, it kind of picks up some speed, and Alonso's playing that off to the side, trying to glove that in-between hop. He's kind of caught it. Just, do I back up? Do I charge it? You got to flash that glove down there late. It's not an easy play as he made it look.
Sam Pohl lined out to Alonso at first base his first time. Pohl getting the start in center field. Strike one. Pohl making his 13th start of the year tonight. Out there in center field, making his 2nd start in center. 2-1. Almost hit him in between Fold and Hundley. That's a striking turn of events.
That pitch right there, this right here is the game so far. Tried the corner and missed.
Fold walks. The Rays to turn 2 walks into 2 runs in the third. Have a 1-out walk in the fourth drawn by Sam Fold. 1 on 1 out for Jose Lobaton.
Now you just get the feeling that the Rays hitters are going to really start getting patient with Volquez, not showing the ability to be in the strike zone consistently. And that plays into the hands of the Rays hitters. They like to see pitches. They like to draw walks. And even sometimes when the average isn't there, the on-base percentage is because of the walks. They're well trained in that, and they've got an opportunity here to take advantage of a pitcher that's not quite locked in like he has been.
Jose Lobaton goes for the first pitch and skies a high pop foul. Hundley backpedaling toward the foul line and makes the catch in foul territory. That was not an easy play, particularly for a catcher just coming into Tropicana Field here for the first time.
How many visiting teams have we seen guys struggle with this roof, let alone, a guy that's never seen it? You get that spin moving back towards the field, and it almost eludes Hundley. That almost could have been a fair ball. Very close. There's so much backspin on those balls that go straight up. That's why catchers turn their back to the infield, because it's going to spin back towards you.
It's the second out of the inning. Pulled off first. Escobar in the batter's box. And fastball, strike 1. Runner goes. Swing and a miss. Ball into center field. Pulled up and on his way to third. So the Rays do some running on a steal. The error on the catcher, Hundley, on the throw, his second error of the year.
Well, you knew it was just a matter of time, not only because of the team stat, but Edinson Volquez has given up the most stolen bases in Major League Baseball coming into play today by 3 over David Price. Teams were 11 of 12. Now 12 out of 13.
And that's interesting. Last year he gave up 22 steals, but there were 10 caught stealing with him on the mound. But this year, only 1. So the opposition 12 of 13 running with him on the mound. Ground ball headed to third. Hundley's throw across the diamond, a strike. So the Rays leave a man, an error in the inning, and a steal. On to the 5th, 3-2 Padres. San Diego. It's time now for the Just for Men Auto Stop foolproof stat. We break out the differential between home and road. The Reds with the greatest differential over in the National League, and the Rays have the greatest differential in the American League. Cincinnati running second in the National League Central.
A lot of that damage for the Rays was on that first 10-game road trip when they went 2-7.
The Rays 6-12 overall on the road. 10-6 here at the Trop. First pitch to Chase Headley is in there. Strike. Alex Cobb with 11 strikeouts tonight, a career high, that coming through 4 innings and 102 pitches through 4. 0-2. Cobb's career high in pitch count is 113. He did that 3 times last year. And Headley is out on strikes for the 3rd time. How about that for Cobb? Headley with his 13-game hitting streak strikes him out 3 times. And see what Cobb did back in the 3rd inning, striking out 4, and as far back so far as 1974, that had not happened since then.
Well, think about it. I mean, you're talking about one pass ball, and usually he's going to be stuck there. You strike out the next 3 guys, but
4 strikeouts and a run scored in the same inning. 2 steals and the balk. And that is the difference in the game at the moment. Carlos Quentin, who has homered and struck out, is at the plate. 1-0. Ball, 1 strike. He's ahead of Quentin. Been a remarkable performance in a strange sort of way.
Yeah.
And just a little off the plate, says Field and Colbert.
You know, both sides have done some nice things. I mean, a couple pitches that Padre hitters, including this guy right here, was able to drive out of the ballpark. A couple of stolen bases by Venable. They've worked Alex Cobb and fouled some pitches off and fought some pretty good at-bats. But on the flip side, 12 strikeouts in 4 1/3 innings.
Full count on Quentin. And he gets him. Another strikeout. That's 13. Quentin out on strikes for the 2nd time. The split got him. 2 outs, bases empty, and let's quickly check in with Todd again. Todd?
With that pitch count building with each strikeout, Dwayne, you know the bullpen's going to be used early. There's a new member of the bullpen sitting right in front of me is Brandon Gomes. Unfortunately, he had to go on the disabled list today. And Josh Luke, who had such a good spring like Gomes, is back up. You see Lukey's numbers at Durham, a sub-1 ERA. For Gomes, he said he had a lat strain that he felt as far back as the Colorado series, was trying to work through it. And guys, even last night when he was warming up, said he still felt it. Gomes did, but he said, I just tried to figure out a way to get some outs if I had to. He knew he was going to have to tell the training staff after the game. Guys, back to you.
Right. Alonso fouls a pitch back, and the count is 1-1. You saw a shot of Josh Lukey up in the bullpen here in the 5th inning. With Cobb running this very high pitch count. It's 113 right now, which equals his career high. Into the dirt. 2 balls and a strike. get Alonso to end the fifth with this very high pitch count. A foul ball. Count is 2-2. Cobb had 2 strikeouts in the first when he gave up 2 solo homers. 3 strikeouts in the second, 4 strikeouts in the third when he gave up a run, walked at home. 2 strikeouts in the fourth. He has 2 here in the fifth. 13 on the night. The 2-2. And we're going to go all the way to 3-2 on Alonso. Hit a man. He's thrown a wild pitch. And the 3-2 is wide. So Alonso walks. Comes with 2 outs here. And Joe Madden comes out of the dugout. So Cobb up to 117 pitches. Have Lukey ready in the bullpen. So Cobb is gone after 4 2/3 with 13 strikeouts on a Metro PCS call to the bullpen. Pitches tonight, 4 2/3, and he leaves trailing 3-2. So the Rays, who had that streak of starting pitching going at least 5 innings, see that come to an end at 34. They were chasing the 1981 Pirates, who had a 45-game streak of that. So that streak ends tonight with Cobb pitching 4 2/3, and Josh Lukey is on to face Jed Jerko. Pitch upstairs. Lukey just joining the club up from Durham. He made 29 pitches in a game last night, working a couple innings. Some great numbers down there for the Durham Bulls.
29 strikeouts at 19 innings, what jumps out at me. That speaks of dominant stuff.
Behind Jerko, 2-0. High fly ball straight down the middle to center. Bold is there. Jerko is retired. So the Padres, they leave one. It's 3-2 San Diego. Soccer returns to Fox as Manchester City takes on Wigan Athletic in one match for England's most storied trophy. The FA Cup final with Budweiser tomorrow at noon Eastern, only on Fox.
Wayne, speaking of soccer, what are your thoughts on Sir Alex Ferguson stepping down as the manager of Manchester United? I mean, this guy is a living legend in the soccer community and has done, I mean, think about that franchise.
All good things must come to an end.
That's your thoughts?
That's my thought.
It's very okay. It's true. It's time to move on to other challenges.
Yeah.
He's gonna he left a legacy.
Matt Joyce ahead in the count, 2-0 here at the bottom of the fifth. Just like that, he's ahead, 3-0.
Well, again, mechanically, Volquez coming undone, flying open towards first base, and he's just not able to find a consistent release point. It's been a struggle. Well, there's a struggle for Alex in a whole different way. It's been a struggle for Volquez to be able to piece together back-to-back pitches in the zone.
Finds it there, 3-1. He walked Joyce in the third with one out. The Rays turned that into a couple runs. Trying to get something started here with Joyce leading off the fifth. Matt in the leadoff spot in the order tonight for the second time this year. There's a base hit into right. 3-1 fastball, and Joyce is aboard.
Well, that's where you're going to get your chances. Falling behind in the count, can you work a walk, or do you get a 3-1 pitch out over the plate? And that's what Joyce did. Good start here at top of the order. Missed spot.
Well, here's Roberts, who walked and scored in the third. Ryan out on strikes in the first, and then the base on balls in the third. Moves the fly ball into right. Denorfia makes the catch. After the leadoff single. One out on the fly ball, and then gets Ben Zobrist to the plate. 13 strikeouts tonight for Alex Cobb in 4 2/3. Sixth time the Rays have had a 13 or more strikeout performance by a pitcher. Sixth time in Rays history, and all the others have been at least 7 innings. This one 4 2/3. Move to first. Joyce back in. Ben 0 for 1. Again over there. Joyce back. San Diego got 2 in the first on a home run by Venable and a home run by Quinton. A run in the third when it was balked home. The Rays scored both their runs in the third. Breaking pitch in for a strike. Longoria's single. Got a run home and a wild pitch scored the other one for the Rays. Joyce and Roberts scoring a run in that frame. Ground ball headed toward the middle, backhanded, knocked down, throw to second, out there. They do get the force on Joyce. Zobrist is aboard on a fielder's choice.
Well, that was awfully close, off the glove there of Jerko. Had a chance here for a double play, but kind of an in-between. How that hit the mound, kind of funny too. Then the flip. See if Cabrera had his foot on the bag when he corralled that. Going to catch it barehanded. Tough to tell from that angle.
Jerko had to also contend with Bill Welke, the umpire out there. Zobrist is aboard on a fielder's choice.
Eager to get that right foot out of there because you saw Joyce coming in hot.
There goes Zobrist, and the throw down is not in time. Ben steals second, stealing his way into scoring position. It's his third steal this year.
Anybody on the Rays that can run is going to test Volquez. And Ben Zobrist gets in easily. 13 out of 14.
And it's a 1-0 count to Longoria. Evan 2 for 2 tonight. Fouls it. Evan came into the game 6th in the American League in hitting.
Well, he's been impressive. Jumping that average up to 341.
Ahead of the count.
Yeah, Evans got that stance. He's got his hands high to create good path down to the ball. He's got a slightly open stance as he starts, gets a very good look at the pitcher, and then and he's very quiet. And as the pitcher gets ready to deliver, all of a sudden he starts to move in, get his load, and get ready to hit. His hands have been extremely quick, and you can see that with his ability to trust him to hit the ball the other way, which he did earlier in this game. Hit the other ball the other way with power, and always ready to turn on the ball in the inner half.
And up in the count, 2-1 here in the 5th inning with Zobrist at second base. And there's ball 3. Saw the action in the Padres bullpen. Joe Thatcher, the lefty, and Anthony Bass, the right-hander. Volquez here in the 5th inning has made 84 pitches on the night. It only seems as if he's made more than that.
Well, I mean, given what Alex Cobb did, the workload that he had, you figure Volquez with his command issues. And Alex didn't even have command issues, not like this. And he's not even to 90.
finds a strike on a fastball at the knees. 3-2. Came into the game hitting .400 with men in scoring position. Full count here. And a cut and a miss. Fastball. He's out on strikes to retire the side. We've completed 5 tonight in the Trop. It's 3-2 San Diego. First, Will Venable belted a home run to right. Carlos Quinton one down the line, out of here to left. Alex Cobb working 4 2/3, made 117 pitches and struck out 13 tonight before he departed. The Rays got a run in the third on a base hit by Evan Longoria, and then the other run was wild pitched home, allowing Ryan Roberts to cross the plate. So it's 3-2 as our game moves into the top half of inning 6. Kyle Blanks leads off against Josh Lukey, who got the final out in the 5th inning. He throws a strike. Hard breaking ball here to start Blanks. 13 strikeouts by Alex Cobb in 4 2/3 innings tonight. One and one. That's the most strikeouts in any major league appearance of 4 2/3 or fewer innings. 13 tonight for Alex. The previous mark had been 10, and several had done that. 1 and 2.
What Lukey has shown some electric stuff here. Sweeping, breaking ball, good velocity on the heater.
Close right there. Breaking ball and stayed in. It's 2 and 2. There's Jake McGee down there in the Rays bullpen up the right field line. Lukey's 2-2 pitch, and he throws a fastball by him at 96. 14th strikeout tonight for Rays pitching. One out into the 6th.
And the vast majority have come on the split changeup of Cobb, and now the hard fastball of Lukey. But he's got I'll tell you what, too, Lukey has that short arm action. It's not a long arm swing, and that ball gets out of the hand, gets out of the glove, and the ball on the way to the plate quick.
It's DeNorfia in the batter's box. Breaking ball and a good one right there. Yes, sir.
I mean, follow that hand out of the glove. He comes set, kicks that leg, the hand comes out behind him, and it's boom, boom. It's a buckler right there.
1-1. I was thinking about the night that Kyle Blanks has had this evening. Just struck out on that fastball. He went 3-2 in the second inning. Cobb got him on a 3-2 changeup. Then he was victimized by a great play by Longoria out, third to first his second time up, and then out on that 96-mile-per-hour fastball, striking out this time. Lukey will cover first, takes the toss from Loney. DeNorfia is out number 2. It's a tough night for Blanks.
And it's not over. They may have a couple more chances. Well, that's the great thing about baseball. You get that next time through the order. It ends up being a tough night. You have tomorrow.
Yep.
Well, you got to be mentally tough. Mentally tough at any level. And then when you get, obviously, to the big league level and the talent, it's just everybody's talented. Maybe not relative to other guys, but everybody in the big leagues is talented. And so you've got to be mentally tough for the grind.
First pitch strike to Hundley. He's been on twice. He was hit by a pitch his first time, walked in the fourth. Two. How about Lukey?
Hey,
here's a guy who threw 29 pitches last night. He came to the ballpark. People said, is he going to be able to pitch tonight? He said, yes.
Yeah,
I can pitch tonight.
Right. You don't come to the ballpark with a day off built in. 29 pitches. He worked for the Rays. I'll tell you what, he looks like a guy, I mean, sharp with the breaking ball, explosive with the heater.
And he strikes out Hundley. How about that? A great inning for Lukey. 1, 2, 3. Go the Padres. Had him way out in front on the change. 3-2 San Diego.
Our AT&T Twitter poll question tonight. You know, Kenny Loggins will kick off the summer concert series tomorrow night after the game. Which of these movie soundtrack songs would you like to vote for tonight as your favorite Kenny Loggins song? Hashtag TB1, I'm Alright, the Dancing Gopher from Caddyshack. Hashtag TB2, Footloose, of the same name of the movie. Hashtag TB3, Meet Me Halfway from Over the Top. Hashtag TB4, Danger Zone from Top Gun. Tweet your votes to @SunSportsRays. We'll have the results in the Rays Live postgame show, guys.
All right, Todd, thank you. James Loney opening the inning for the Rays here in the bottom of the 6th. A ball and no strikes. Cut. It's 1-1. He started the night at 281. He's 0 for 2. His average right now 374. 2-1. Rays have 2 runs, 3 hits. The Padres 3 runs, 5 hits.
That's when Volquez is able to keep that sinker in the strike zone and down where he gets that late action. Loney's swinging and missing at that pitch. He hasn't missed too many heaters in the last few weeks.
To short this time, caught by Cabrera.
You know, and a great adjustment made by Loney. Listen, he lined it at Cabrera, but after swinging, you know, he's had a couple of fastballs off the end of the bat tonight with that good late action, and he finally said, look, I know he's going to continue to attack me that way, so now I'm going to go out and get it. And that's exactly what he did. Unfortunately, it was right at Cabrera.
Now it's Luke Scott. Red Sox have a 2-0 lead in the bottom of the 7th at Fenway, leading Toronto. John Lester's given up 1 hit. There's a double to Asturias in the 6th. 1-0 the count on Luke. One. 2 balls and a strike. Now 3 balls and a strike. There's the shortstop Cabrera, who throws him out. 2 outs in the 6th inning with the bases empty. Just a reminder, as you enjoy a cold one, to look forward to Miller Time later in tonight's game, brought to you by Miller Lite.
It's a nice pour right there. It's a pro.
Makes you thirsty, doesn't it?
Double fisting right there. That's a pro.
Sam Fold. Strike. One and one. Reached on a walk in the 4th, stole 2nd. strikes.
Maybe the best changeup of the night there from Volquez.
Ground ball, shortstop. Up by Cabrera. The throw to first in time. 1, 2, 3. Go the Rays in inning number 6. On to the 7th, 3-2 Padres. Live, the pregame show presented by your Gulf Coast Honda dealers. Orestes will take a good look at James Loney's swing, and they'll also examine these 2 third basemen, franchise players here for the Padres and for the Rays, of course, and BA's breakdown. Always looking forward to that. Jake McGee, the new pitcher. Lukey worked an inning and a third in relief of Alex Cobb. So Jake McGee now on to work the 7th. Top of the order, Cabrera, then Venable and Headley. Sixteenth appearance for Jake McGee. Goes after the fastball, fouling it back. Strikeouts for Cobb, 2 for Lukey. Inside 1-1. The most strikeouts the Rays pitching staff has ever had in one single game in 9 innings is 18. That was on the road against the Blue Jays in Toronto in August of 2011. Rays did play a 15-inning game at Oakland in July last year when they struck out 21. That was in 15 innings. 15 strikeouts through the first 6 tonight. 13 of those belonging to Alex Cobb in 4 2/3. Dugout.
rile him up.
No, in fact, he's going to go further down. Not going to stay in that area. Yeah, you guys stay over there.
You just knowing George and what he's saying right now.
Hilarious.
Oh,
He's
got
playing it safe right now. The chase by Cabrera. Fastball 97, strikeout number 16 for the Rays staff.
Jake McGee getting powerful here at 97.
Well, Venable has homered, struck out, and struck out again. He struck out in the third inning and eventually scored a run. Pitched on a wild pitch. Scored on a ball. Oh, on the count to him. Lifts the fly ball into right field. Ben Zobrist takes care of it. 2 up and 2 down. Well, the Twins have taken a 3-0 lead on Baltimore in the third in Minnesota. Ryan Roberts had surgery on his right hamstring. Going to be out at least 6 weeks for Baltimore. Want to know the count here to Chase Headley. And the Orioles also put Miguel Gonzalez on the 15-day disabled list. He's had a blister issue in his pitching hand. Two balls, no strikes for Headley. Strike. Three balls and a strike. Fly ball back into deep center. Ball to the track. He's got it. That takes care of Headley. 1-2-3 in the seventh. 3-2 San Diego. Brought to you by USAA, proudly serving the financial needs of current and former military members and their families. By your Gulf Coast Honda dealers. Visit your Honda dealer for great lease and finance deals on fuel-efficient Hondas. And by Checkers, feast on. Here at Tropicana Field, we go to the bottom of the 7th inning. New pitcher, Dale Thayer, formerly with the Rays. And his first pitch to Jose Lobaton is a fastball in there for a strike. At 94.
You can see Dale gets that arm out, got that slinging action. Feature that fastball from that low 3/4 arm angle, a slider, a hard changeup. You see his season numbers, very impressive.
He's come out here with that fastball in the 93 and 94 area.
He's got his playoff beard too. Remember the mustache?
Yes, absolutely.
From Miami.
Yep. That's a chopper backhanded by Headley. Throw to first, not going to be in time. Lobaton just making contact between Headley and the bag. Appeared it had a chance to go up the left field line, and Headley made a play out of that.
Yeah, this was not about getting it out. It was about saving a double. There's no way you're going to throw anybody out unless they've fallen down. But you do save an extra base, because if that ball gets by him, Lobaton's more than likely standing on second base. So a great play in that regard.
So the Rays put the leadoff man on in the bottom of the 7th inning. Janelle Escobar. Escobar showing the bunt. Pitch is down. Escobar takes the pitch high. 2-0. Sometimes a pitcher has a little difficulty when a hitter's out there trying to bunt.
We saw that in Colorado. We saw that in Colorado. Yeah, when a guy squares around early, you lose sight of the glove. You know, you're used to a clean zone. Yeah, sure, there's a hitter there, but he's not standing there with the bat moving it around.
And now suddenly 3-0.
There you go. There you go. It can be distracting. It's something that a pitcher's not used to seeing. Trying to give you an out, they may pick up a walk here.
Three balls and a strike. They're here opening the 7th inning. Left-hander Joe Thatcher is up again in the bullpen down the left field line for San Diego. Tom Foley had a close conversation with Escobar. He counted 3-1. And there's the bunt. There makes the pickup and a low throw, and it cannot be dug out. Everybody's safe. Well, as Thayer slings the ball toward the plate, he similarly made a slinging move with that pickup and throw toward first base. That'll be an error charged to Thayer, a sacrifice and an error.
Well, you got to make this one count. Make this hurt. Sack bunt here, giving up the out. Thayer just spiked it. I mean, he stepped through and he threw short and wild.
So 2 men are on with nobody out.
And that gets the top of the order up here.
The left-handed bat, Matt Joyce against Thayer. Knapp with a walk and a single. Officially 1 for 2. And he takes a big cut. Strike one.
Healthy.
Rays have trailed throughout the evening, down 3-2 at the moment. That pitch comes back and catches the corner.
Yeah, that had that boring action. You know, he's got that arm that's out away from his body. And that ball just cuts all the way across there and boom, nails that corner. That's a nice pitch by Thayer.
In on him, and Joyce fouls it back into the screen. A base hit by Lobaton, the sacrifice and the error on the Escobar at bat. 2 men on with nobody out. Inside. Takes it to 1-2. Thatcher ready if they need him. Bass up again in the bullpen. And a line drive base hit, or not. Yep, going to fall in front of Venable. Lobaton had to wait to see if that ball was going to carry. So he has to stop at third. The ball appeared to be sinking, but it had a little carry, and for a moment, Lobaton had to play it safe. So the bases are going to be loaded on this base hit.
Yeah, not an easy read, and you cannot get doubled off there.
So they're loaded with nobody out. And here's Ryan Roberts. Takes a strike.
Well, here you go. This is what you've been working for all game long. Able to get it to 3-2. It kind of sat there for a while, and now home half of the 7th inning. You're running out of time. You're getting to the back end of this bullpen. That's been very good for the Padres. And here's your shot.
There with a slider for strike 2.
That was, I mean, that's a dirty pitch. That slider from that arm slot, it sweeps, it's tight, it's late. And it's well located. See another one right here.
So the fastball wide.
Okay. Now you'll see one.
Great chance for the Rays, who trail by 1. Time granted. Rays have Lobaton at third, Escobar at second, and Joyce at first. And a base hit. Looped into shallow left. Lobaton scores. Here comes Escobar. And the Rays lead 4-3. 2 RBI single for Ryan Roberts.
Now it went back with the fastball, wanted it down and away. That ball worked its way right back in on Ryan Roberts, and he's able to fight it into left field, drop it in there, and the Rays take the lead. Boy, where was that slider at?
Well, that was a mean pitch.
I don't know
we
why.
didn't see it again.
Don't know why you didn't go back to that, as nasty as it was, but it cost him.
Padres make a pitching change on this Metro PCS call to the bullpen. series tomorrow night. Jeremy Hellickson will be on the hill. Our coverage begins at 5:30. Jeremy looks for his second win of the year. Tonight, the Rays have taken the lead in the 7th inning, and now they'll face Anthony Bass, the right-hander, the third pitcher for San Diego. The pitch to Ben Zobrist is a fastball in for a strike. The Rays don't want to stop here. After trailing all night, they now lead 4-3 and a chance for more. Zobrist could not check. Adrian Johnson on the call, and that'll put Zobrist down 0-2.
A good breaking ball, and that was a little bit too far there by Ben.
Covered up by Hundley on the block. Slider down into the dirt. Again, Hundley getting in front of that pitch, down and in, 2-2. 2 runs charged to Thayer. He leaves with 2 men on. Chargeables to his account. Pick-off play at second, and back in safely Matt Joyce. Last worked 3 days ago against the Marlins. 1 inning, 1 scoreless inning, and he picked up a strikeout. And a wild pitch. Hundley can't find it immediately. Rays now have 2 men in scoring position. Joyce to third. Roberts up to second.
Well, Bass, after making a couple of quality pitches to get out in front, has come back with a couple of these. And this one again, Hundley trying to backhand that fastball that's directly in front of him. That is what will lead to that carom every time. Very rarely are you going to clean pick that.
So a great opportunity now for the Rays. The infield forced to come in. Three-two and a chopper up the middle. Through into center field. Joyce scores. Roberts on his way to the plate. Zobrist drives in 2. And the Rays will make it a 6-3 ball game. Against the drawn-in infield, Zobrist chops it through the middle.
That's all you got to do. You got the turf here, and everybody's pulled in. This ball moving away from Ben. He just level swing and pounds that ball into the ground. Splits the defenders. Now give it to the Rays. They got an opportunity, and they've taken full advantage. The hit parade continues.
And we get down to Evan Longoria. Out of the cleanup spot, moved to first, and Zobrist is back in. So 4 runs charged to Thayer. Evan drove in a run with a base hit in the 3rd. Another move over. Well, that wild pitch changed everything then. Goes after the fastball up and swings through it. John Lester threw a no-hitter against the one-hitter. Lester throws a one-hitter, 118 pitches, as Boston knocks off Toronto 5-0. Struck out 5, didn't walk anybody. Asturias had the only hit. Pitch out, nothing doing. 5-0. Boston over the Blue Jays. At the plate. Loney next. Thatcher still down there in the bullpen. The lefty. Longoria up the right side. It's going to slice out of play. Evan taking a shot the other way. Miss. So Longoria out on strikes on a hard slider. Bass picks up the first out of the inning.
A good slider there. See Bass come in here with pretty good stuff. That fastball 91-94, a good hard slider that he keeps down in the zone, sometimes right into the dirt. That was a very good one. This San Diego bullpen very strong. Good to see the Rays be able to put some runs on the board against them.
James Loney looks for his first hit tonight. Lined hard to the shortstop in the 6th inning. Takes a fastball low. The runner, the pitch hit on the ground, base hit into right. Zobrist will continue to third on Loney's single. First and third again for the Rays. James Loney, after hitting the ball hard in the 6th inning, grounds a single into right here in the 7th.
Now, again, not quite getting that ball away. All away, that ball's hit off the end of the bat. Middle of the plate, Loney's able to get enough of it, and with the motion of Zobrist, still able to pull it over there in the hole. Shortstop was covering. There's still a big hole there for Loney.
Well, Luke Scott will bat. Loney, the left-handed hitter, with a base hit. Now Scott's up here with that. Thatcher has a seat in the bullpen. Scott takes a strike. Luke 0 for 3 tonight. Made a bid to get one up the middle, but Cabrera was positioned there in the 6th inning, and he picked it up and threw him out. A 1-1 count. Rays with 6 runs and 8 hits. The Padres 3 runs, 5 hits. Ball, 2 strikes. to the plate here in the 7th inning. And it's popped up down from first, Alonso, and he'll make the catch just inside the line. 2 outs. And the win for Boston over the Blue Jays, 5-0, and that 1 hitter by Lester. Lester's record now 5-0. It's an obstacle course for Luke Scott there, trying to get around Hundley and Alonso. Sam Full. This is a fastball. Tigers beat the Indians 10-4. Gold is down on the count, 0-2. The Rays sending 9 men to the plate here in this inning. And that Detroit went over Cleveland. Prince Fielder hit his 9th. Miguel Cabrera hit his 7th. And Andy Dirks hit his 3rd. And 10-4. Ball, 2 strikes. Well, this is the 3rd time on this homestand the Rays have batted around. Tuesday night, Wednesday, starting the weekend here Friday, sending 9 men to the plate in 1 inning here in the 7th. And Loney on the move. Cole fouls it. In the bottom of the 7th. Back into interleague play. Loney again to pitch inside. Loney moves up to second. So he'll get a steal, 2nd of the year. So Bold, after getting down 2 strikes, 2-2 now. Count is full. Yankees have taken a 10-5 lead in the top of the 6th in Kansas City. Wade Davis knocked out in a 5-run 6th inning. And ball 4 loads the bases. So Bold, after falling behind, draws the walk. The bases are going to be loaded, and not only will Bold walk, but so will Bud Black as he strolls to the mound to make a pitching change. Metro PCS called to the bullpen. sports teams. Join the conversation online with our Fox Sports Florida girls, Jordana and Annie Lee, by liking them on Facebook and following them on Twitter and Instagram. Brad Boxberger's the new pitcher. Bass worked 2/3 of an inning. And now Boxberger coming off a 2 1/3 inning stint against the Diamondbacks Saturday. Jose Lobaton bats with the bases loaded. He becomes the 10th Rays hitter to appear here in the 7th. Fastball at 93 for a strike. Boxberger had been in Tucson. 24 games last year with the Padres, his first big league time. Rays have had a big inning to take the lead at 6-3. Ben Zobrist singled in a run. He's now at third. Loney single. He stole second. Fold walk. Lobaton bats, 2 outs. The bases filled with Rays runners, and he is out on strikes to retire the side. So the Rays grab the lead. They score 4. Base hit by Ryan Roberts, chased home 2. Ben Zobrist followed that with a base hit up the middle through the drawn-in infield, and the Rays now lead 6-3 through 7.
Don't forget Sunday's Mother's Day, and this special giveaway item to the first 10,000 ladies that show up at Tropicana Field, courtesy of Mosaic. It's a flower pot with a little TB logo on right there. That's coming up Sunday on Mother's Day. It would be such a nice gift if somebody was having a birthday today. Look at your pin.
Yes, look at my pin. 90 years.
90 years old? This lovely lady has been cheering as hard as anybody in the stadium tonight. She's been looking around, you know, making sure she can see the field right here. What's your name?
Dottie.
Dottie, here. This is for you. It matches your sweater.
Sure, I wore blue because Rays.
Of course you do. Well, wave to everybody back home, Dottie. Can you see their camera up there? She's 90 years old, guys. One of the big Rays fans, and happy birthday to you.
Thank you very much.
All right, let's go back to Dwayne TBA, guys.
Well, Todd found perhaps the most deserving fan here tonight.
Without question.
She's had a great time, and now even better.
And in it to win it. This hasn't been the prettiest game.
And she's sticking right in there, I'm telling you. 1-1 the count on Quentin with Joel Peralta taking over on the hill. Pitch is outside. Seventeenth appearance for Peralta. Quentin with a couple strikeouts following his first inning home run. Take the count to 2-2. Peralta had a couple days off, and boy, that's something unusual for him. Count is full. Ball four. The leadoff walk in the 8th inning. Well, after taking the lead with a 4-run bottom of the 7th, that's the last thing Peralta wanted to do is walk the first man he faces.
No doubt about it. But, you know, Joel Peralta is one of those guys, very mentally tough. And he's got enough experience to, you know, listen, not ideal, but you move on past it and start going to work on this guy at the plate, not let this inning start to spiral on you.
Pitch upstairs to Alonso, Padres first baseman. Yeah, you don't want to give this team a chance here after coming from behind and grabbing the lead late. Cooper foul. It's 1-1.
One thing about Peralta is when he does get into trouble, he does not become predictable. You know, a lot of guys that, especially younger pitchers, the game starts to speed up on them a little bit. They start going hard. Peralta, if anything, will start to slow the game down. Breaking ball, split, occasional fastball. He still pitches.
Ground ball to first. Loney steps on the bag. Now the tag's in order. Escobar tags Quentin, and they get the 3-6 double play. Well, that takes care of the leadoff walk in short order.
Right to Loney. You're right there at the bag. Tag it and get the throw out of the way. Nowhere for Quentin to go, and Escobar runs him down.
You want to make sure you get at least one there this late, really counting outs. And so that takes care of 2 of them. Jed Jerko, the hitter. Jerko 0 for 3 with a couple strikeouts. High fly ball, right center field. Zobrist back in front of the wall, has room. That retires the side. Home half of inning 8 coming, and the Rays lead 6-3. Coming up on Rays Live, the postgame, presented by Checkers. Todd and Arestis around to anchor the coverage. DA and I will break down the Rays' comeback inning in the 7th. Joe Maddon's press conference. Barry LeBrock, he'll have interviews from the clubhouse. All of that on Rays Live, the postgame, presented by Checkers. Foul ball out of play by Escobar. Escobar. Two strikes the count to Escobar. Boxberger got the final out in the 7th. One and two. Breaking ball, Escobar reaching and pops it up. The shallow center, Venable. One away. Now Matt Joyce out of the leadoff spot tonight. Well, it's worked again. He's been on base 3 times. Fernando Rodney loosens in the bullpen. A walk, 2 singles, and 2 runs scored for Matt Joyce. One strike the count. Two. They take low. Off Lopez and 4 off there. High fly ball short right. And that will be out number 2. Denorfia taking care of that fly ball from Joyce. Brad Boxberger out of the University of Southern California, where his father Rod pitched back in '78 on a national championship team. In the dirt. 1-0. The knees. Boxberger in 24 games a year ago after spending the other part of the season at Tucson. 24 games with the Padres and a .260 earned run average. Ground ball back at third, backhanded by Headley. Sets and throws a strike to first. 1, 2, 3 in the 8th. We head into the 9th inning with the score 6-3 Rays. May not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and description of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Tampa Bay Rays. Fernando Rodney on. Pitcher number 5 for Joe Madden tonight. The Rays holding a 3-run lead, 6-3, and Rodney on trying to close it out.
4 out of 6 in the saves, ERA 4.63. Does have 14 strikeouts and 11 2/3 of innings of work. You're looking to put this one into the win column for the Rays.
He'll lead off Kyle Blanks. And Denorfia and Hundley due to face Rodney. He worked the 8th, and the first pitch is inside a 95-mile-per-hour fastball. We talked about the 3 at-bats Blanks has had already, and so here for the 4th one he gets to face Rodney, and that first pitch close at 95. A strike at the knees.
Rodney's not a comfortable at-bat to begin with.
That's right.
Let alone when the first one wraps its way around you.
Rodney worked the 9th inning of last night's game against the Blue Jays and hit 100 miles an hour when he struck out Melky Cabrera. It's 3-1, another changeup there taken by Blanks. Walks him. So a leadoff walk here in the top of the 9th. Blanks heads to first. Chris Denorfia, who has 2 of the Padres' 5 hits tonight. right side. Roberts backs out. Denorfia is out, number 1. Nick Hundley at the plate now. He's 0 for 1. He's hit by a pitch and walked in the 4th. Struck out in the 6th. And the first pitch is a strike. Rodney got Denorfia on the changeup and starts Hundley with a strike changeup. Strike, fastball, 97.
And well located. 97's one thing. 97 in a spot like that is impossible.
One ball, 2 strikes. The Orioles have come back to tie the Twins 6-6.
Wow.
In the top of the 7th inning.
Wow. What is that, 6-0?
They were down 6-0 at one point. They scored 3 in the 6th and now 3 in the 7th. What they've shown is that they just will not go away.
No.
I mean, they're just after you all the time.
And very quietly. I mean, under the radar, right there, just hanging around at the top of the division.
Yankees hold a 10-6 lead in Kansas City, bottom of the 7th inning. Look out, a shot into the seats up the right side. So the count goes to 1-2. Lakes walk. Denorfia popped out to second. A swing and a miss. Hundley missed that low fastball that clocked in at 98. Well, that's 17 strikeouts tonight for Rays pitching.
This one just below the zone, and Hundley goes down and tries to get it. The Rays just 1 out away.
It's Cabrera. Cabrera 3 times has struck out, and that's strike 1 with the runner moving up to second on indifference. 18 strikeouts in 9 innings for the Rays in August of 11 against Toronto. That's the highest in a 9-inning game. They have 17 tonight. 0-2 changeup and 21 strikeouts in 15 innings last July against Oakland. And they're a pitch away, a strike away from equaling the 9-inning high and closing this one out. Two-strike count to Cabrera. And he is out on strikes. This game is over, and the Rays win it. It's a 6-3 final. 2 strikeouts in the 9th for Fernando Rodney. And the Rays with a 4-run 7th inning put this one on the winning side of the ledger, 6-3. So the Rays go to 17-18. Jake McGee will get the win, his first of the year. He is 1-2. Thayer, the losing pitcher, dropping his record to 0-2. With 3 hours and 26 minutes to play this game, and the Rays, after trailing 3-0, come back to win 6-3. As we promised earlier in the game, it's Miller time, brought to you by Miller Lite. The big hits in the 7th inning, the 2-run base hit by Ryan Roberts. And then Ben Zobrist drove in 2 against the drawn-in infield to cap the 4-run 7th. The Rays went to the bullpen to close it out. 6-3, the Rays are winners. And right now, let's go to the field and Todd Callis.
Dwayne, thanks. Ryan, what a big hit that was. We just showed it, down 3-2. You're down to the count 0-2. Mindset at that point, bases loaded?
You know what, man? It's crazy, but even through the strikeout, man, I got 3 prayers answered tonight. You know, just the Lord blessed me in that situation, man. It was, you know, out of my control at that point, down 0-2. You know, I just try to stay calm and relax, and you know, not do a whole lot, and you know, God bless.
What's the key in that swing? Obviously, he had that nasty slider that got you down to the count. To be able to get that pitch on the inner part of the plate and keep it fair.
Shoot, just swing. You know, I got nothing for you. If I did, I would do it every time. I mean, you know, like I said, he's got light to the fastball, man. I just, you know, wanted to catch it out front as much as I could and take a swing at it.
How about this team? I think you mentioned earlier in the homestand, it seems like when this thing gets going, the train keeps rolling. 10 men sent to the plate in that big inning tonight.
Yeah, and that's, you know, that's contagious offense. You know, I think it's all throughout baseball with this team especially, though. It's very contagious, and, you know, one hit leads to another, a walk leads to another, and then a big hit at the right time. You know, it happens a lot with this team.
What do you think about this team losing those 2 tough ones to start the series against Toronto and now winning 3 straight? Does this have a chance to be kind of that spark you've been looking for to get things over the top?
Oh, yeah, you know, you always want to get on a winning streak. You know, but like I said, like I think everybody says, we're all in agreement, so we're going to play the same way we know how to play, and we're going to go out play 100% and just try to compete, and, you know, not think about a winning streak or not think about a losing streak, just take one game at a time. And today, you know, relish in the moment, and then tomorrow is a new day.
Thanks, Ryan.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, guys, back up to you.
All right, Todd, the Rays winners 6-3 over the San Diego Padres to open this 3-game interleague series. Back in a moment.